Good afternoon, everybody. It is Saturday, not Sunday, but Saturday. Yes, we are live on a Saturday night. Reason being is because I have a tournament tomorrow. So, kind of don't think my wife would be too happy with me doing a show after I'm at a tournament all day. I thought I was ready for the tournament, but I'm just realizing now that I'm looking at last year's jersey behind me, I'm going to have to make a quick stop over to my parents' house and see if I can pick up my jerseys after. Completely forgot about that. Before I bring on tonight's guest, let's get through a couple quick announcements. As usual, this episode is brought to you by Backbone Disc Golf, a disc golf company out in Spencerport, New York, meeting all your disc golf needs with great customer service. And then, just like I've been saying for the last couple weeks, make sure you guys are keeping on top of the Facebook pages, Western New York Disc Golf, Buffalo Niagara Disc Golf Clubs, as they will post up tournaments and leagues going on and other things like that, as well as keeping up on the disc golf scene website online. It'll have all the tournaments listed. It'll give you all the information you need. Just make sure that we're staying on top of tournaments. As many of you know, next year we'll be holding the Amateur Worlds here. So we want to make sure that all of us are trying to get as many points as we can. And the way you get your points is obviously playing tournaments. So we'll have the live chat going tonight. And then towards the end of the show, we'll I'll read through the questions, and then we'll see, and then we'll go through the questions and answer it. All right, let's see if I can get this right. So let's see here. Let's bring in our guest. So let's see here. Got him. So let's see. All right. So Eric, if you got that, let's get him in. Eric, how's it going, buddy?
What's going on, man? How are you?
Good. How about you?
Doing pretty good. Can't complain.
Yeah, that's good. So, as you know, Eric is the TD for tomorrow's tournament. I seen reels of you getting out there, painting out the islands and some OB lines.
Doing the best I can.
Yeah.
Hopefully nobody's mad. Nothing's ambiguous, but we'll see.
So, are they big islands or are they going to be small islands?
I mean, it's all based on your interpretation, I suppose. But I think they're pretty generous for the most part. I will tell you, hole 12, the island's going to be a little bigger than people are used to back when there was a road there. So that's probably a little more beneficial. And then 11, you're going to be your standard size island, probably about circle sized. So Not big, but it's also a really short hole. It's less than 200 feet. So yeah, hopefully you guys are okay with that.
That's good because I always struggle with holes like when we do league at Thursday night at ECP. That always hole 16 island gets me every time.
Well, Jeremy's mean. He makes that island, or whoever he has painted that week, makes that island really small. So it's he's mean to you guys, or mean to all of us, to be honest.
So good to know that it won't be too much of a struggle tomorrow.
Yeah.
So this is going to be like my first actual tournament at JD, other than like a doubles tournament. So. How many years has this tournament been going on, and like what made you start this tournament?
Well, Jeremy Holke started it. I'm not 100% sure on exactly how long this specific event, at least in its name, currently has been running. I know I've been playing in it since 2021, so I want to say probably at least since 2020. I took it over from him 3 years ago, so this will be my third year running it. And that's it. I mean, as far as why I took it over, I love playing at the Dizzle. It's always a good time. Jeremy, I know he does a lot, sometimes too much, and he has a tendency to take on a lot of events. So this was just something that I could easily take off of his plate, something that I have no problem running for him. And he helped get me started, and so now it's just kind of become my baby, and I'm pretty proud of how smooth it's gone the last few years.
That's pretty cool. So you're obviously playing in the tournament as well tomorrow, right? So. Yes, I am. Is it challenging to be a TD and playing in your own tournament, or is it kind of not any different than if you're just a TD it?
No, it's definitely more challenging to play in an event that you're running because, especially morning of, I mean, for all the events that you guys play, you're probably coming in, you're able to kind of just relax, take a deep breath, putt, throw, play a couple of holes, do whatever you got to do to get your warm up going. I don't have that luxury. So I'm just kind of sitting at Tournament Central, checking people in, making sure that things are okay, answering questions, making sure the cards have loaded. And then obviously player meetings. So I'll probably get maybe one throw in as far as practice throws are concerned and a couple of putts right before the round starts. So it's a little more stressful when you're running the event as opposed to if you're just showing up and playing. And you don't quite get that warm-up time. But that being said, I love running events. It's a great time. So it doesn't bother me that I don't get that same warm-up. And I'm cool with just kind of hopping out of the car and letting one rip. So it's fine with me.
Nice. So, I've always wondered this, like, what are the steps to becoming a TD? Because I hear people all the time, oh, I want to be a TD, I want to be a TD. So how do you get to that point of taking on a tournament yourself?
Yeah, I mean, there's no real steps. If you want to run an event, there is nothing stopping you from going out and running an event. There are 2 major clubs in the area right now that can help you get your start if you're looking for guidance, though. So Western New York Disc Golf Club, any one of us can answer your questions. Myself, Jeremy, Sam are all seasoned veteran TDs at this point. We're happy to work with you to make sure that you're comfortable, that you understand all the steps. We can work with the parks for you in terms of securing permitting. We can always offer you insurance. And I know Buffalo Niagara Disc Golf, I would assume they offer something pretty similar where, they're always going to be available to answer you guys' questions, provide insurance, work with parks. We all have liaisons that kind of do that for us. So it's, us with Jimmy, I'm pretty sure BNDG is Scott. So yeah. Somebody can help you if you're not 100% sure. Isaac Millette, Lloyd is running an event, I think, for the first time this year, the Bark Park event, which looks awesome. I'm pretty sure it's his first time doing it. And he reached out to the club and got some feedback. And, for the most part, you guys have all played events, so I think you guys understand sort of the flow for the most part. And from there, it's just, you can learn on the fly or, gather as much information from people who know what they're doing as possible before you kind of hit the ground running.
Cool. That sounds pretty good. Yeah, I never knew it was like that. So that's pretty cool. So back to your tournament. So obviously, like we've already established, as people are like tuning on, that's why I'm saying again that you're playing tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So what do you think that the keys of success should be for tomorrow, especially with the weather being what is projected? Because they're calling for rain, it looks like, which surprise.
Yeah, right. That's Buffalo in March. As far as keys to success, I think at Joseph Davis, it's pretty straightforward. Basically, birdie or die course, even in this current layout. The keys to success are just making sure you're executing your shots, finding your landing spots. Maybe don't go full send on everything if you're not 100% sure, especially in inclement weather with rain and wind, because that's what we're up against tomorrow. Going to be a lot of rain. It looks like it's not going to let up pretty much the entire day. And I think winds are 10 to 20 miles per hour. And in a place like Joseph Davis where you don't have any wind screens as far as trees are concerned, you got to make sure that your disc selection is on point and just execute the shot that you're most comfortable with. Birdies will eventually come. There's a lot of short holes and there's a lot of opportunity. It's also a long layout. 24 holes is a lot of holes. So, don't get discouraged if you're 10, 12 deep and you're even par a couple over. They'll come. So I would tell you that anybody that's playing, the keys to execution are find a shot that you're comfortable with, throw the shot that you're comfortable with, and don't stress out if the birdies aren't coming early.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan to me. I like that plan. I'm not sure, like some of these names, I looked through the player list throughout the week, and some names I recognized, some I didn't. So if you could tell like a new player that's coming out, like this is their first tournament, they're kind of nervous and whatnot, like they don't know what to expect. What can you do? Like, what can you tell them to kind of like ease into their first tournament? What should they expect?
I would say don't have expectations at least of yourself in terms of your play, and just go out there and look to have a good time. These are the best events to break into when they're your first because it's unsanctioned. So you don't have the added stress of needing to be a PDGA member, or if you are kind of beginning and you're hyper focused on rating, you don't have to worry about that here. You're just out there having fun playing for cash. This is an event where if somebody has card requests, I'm always happy to hear them. It's not as tricky as it is if it's a sanctioned event where we're using PDGA Live. I can shift things around in UDisc pretty simply. So if you have friends you want to play with your friends. If you, if just, I guess the biggest thing for me would be don't have expectations, especially if this is one of your first events. Just go in, have a good time, throw some discs, try to, deal with the weather as best you can. And that's really all that there is to it. So that anybody that's just starting out, that's always going to be my biggest piece of advice is, for the most part, do not stress out. Just have a good time.
Yeah. Jared actually just messaged in a question. He's asking, will the pars be the same for blues as they are for the whites tomorrow?
Yeah, pars really don't change, even with the added distance. The only major difference in terms of par would have been hole 8, where I would have shifted it to a par 4. I didn't because the way that layouts work is it's not the easiest to manage, and I can't assign different layouts to different divisions in a UDisc live event, which is kind of a pain in the butt. So unfortunately, the pars are going to be the same for both sets of tees, for all sets of tees. Yeah, to be honest, even the reds.
Yeah, and then the reds are new this year, correct?
Yeah, so that's one of the course improvements that JD did last year. Towards the end of the year, they actually poured all brand new concrete pads, so that we now have blue, whites, and reds at JD.
Nice. Is there ever going to be any plans of golds? Is that a thing?
Not in regards to what we've been in contact with the state parks for. Blues are about as far as we've gone with them. If they are looking for additional course improvements, we'll happily touch base. Jasper's the parks coordinator for the state parks in New York, or at least in Western New York. And he's somebody who's in constant communication with James Carmen. And so if Jasper comes to us and says, hey guys, we're thinking about doing a gold layout and adding another set of tees, we'll be the first ones out there to say, all right, let's do a walkthrough and figure out how we can make that happen. At Joseph Davis, I don't know that there is room for that. Yeah, if I'm being totally honest with you. I think the blues are about as far as you can go without totally changing up the entire layout. But if that's something they said they wanted to do, then we would 100% be out there next day talking about how we can make it happen.
Yeah. And then I've also been hearing this week something about new baskets. Do we know anything about new baskets getting put in at some point? Or
they have them. So the state park has them. They got them towards the end of the year last year. They just didn't have an opportunity to swap them out. And they were also doing a bunch of work for that lower bowl, the 9 holes that are across the road. That's all that work's done. Everything's taken care of. So our understanding is that the baskets will be in before May. So they wanted to do them in early spring. So prior to early May, we should hopefully see brand new baskets at JD because they've had them since last year.
Oh, that's cool. So, obviously, I don't know this. Are you able to take any basket and just put on the current sleeve, or do you have to put a whole new sleeve in for different baskets?
All brand new baskets will come with their own sleeves. Typically, there's a ground sleeve that you would leave in there because it's cemented. But then there's a connective tissue sleeve that comes with every brand new basket, and you would take the entire thing out that's there now, other than the ground sleeve, and put the new basket in with the new sleeve. And it's just lining up holes, so it's not crazy complicated. And every basket's pretty much universal at this point, so you really don't need to take the entire thing out of the ground with the concrete.
Okay, cool. All right, sorry to go down that rabbit hole.
No, you're good. You're good.
So, how wet let's rephrase that. Is there going to be any major mud pits around any of the tee pads, or what's
tough to say? I haven't been out there since Thursday. That's when I went out and painted and flagged, so I'm not 100% sure exactly what it looks like right now. That said, there's always standing water at the Dizzle, unfortunately. It's just a matter of how bad is the standing water going to be, given that it's been raining all day today and it's going to rain all day tomorrow. So you'll see the normal spots, between 8 on hole 8's fairway, where the two hump hole. There's definitely going to be standing water there on OG 18, right before you get around that little tree curve. There's definitely going to be standing water there. I know that they did some mitigation when they sort of redesigned the park. So some of the holes that were really bad are no longer as bad. So I'm hoping for the best tomorrow. But I would, if you're playing, expect there to be definitely some mud and plenty of standing water in the normal spots that you're used to seeing.
Yeah, so definitely wear boots tomorrow instead of shoes, right?
That would be my recommendation. Don't rock closed-top sneakers. If you have waterproof, wear something waterproof. That's my recommendation.
All right. Right, cool. So I was looking through on UDisc because you said earlier in the week that on UDisc you have the layout posted up, and I was looking through it. So can you tell us about a couple of the hybrid holes that you put together, and like what kind of made you kind of come up with them?
It's the same layout as it was last
Okay.
year, and basically I just played through the course with a couple of different people, namely Jeremy Holkey. I play with Jeremy Chapman all the time, and he's always looking for, let's make the holes longer. That's Jeremy Chapman's number one thing, because he throws 500 plus feet. So when you're him, it's nice when you can throw a spike hyzer on hole 15 and pin the basket. But as far as the hybrid holes, so the first one, we play 2 to 3s basket, and that's strictly the only reason we do that is for pace of play, because typically you're waiting on hole 3 to clear before you can even throw your tee shot on hole 2. So that eliminates the pace of play issue there. You can play right over to 3s basket, jump right over to 4. So, and then the other hybrid hole, which I just thought was fun, is playing from OG 18's pad, and you play it all the way to OG 4's basket, right over by 5's tee pad. And you play with a Mando, so there is a Mando tree that you have to play right of. You miss the Mando, you go to the blue tee pad for OG 19, and you throw towards hole 4's, or at hole 4's basket. There's a bunch of OB back there, so it's going to make those shots strictly. There's the bush to the left, the tree bush to the right. All of that's marked OB. It's also, there's a line that runs the left side from the Mando tree all the way around the back side of the green. So if you want to take that backside route, let's say you throw a hyzer and it shoots a little left on you, you just want to throw a forehand right up at the green, you're throwing over OB the whole way. So it's a little trickier there's decisions to be made on, hey, do I really need to go for birdie here?
Yeah.
So I just thought that was a really cool hole. Again, pace of play, because we're eliminating 19 altogether. And typically what you do is you get to 18, you have to wait for people on 19 to clear, not to mention there's people throwing back the other way on the shorty hole that goes slightly downhill. So there's usually a log jam in the center of the course there. So we eliminate a lot of that by just saying, all right, we're going to play 18's pad up and around a 4's basket instead. So that's the real reason, a huge reason for it is pace of play.
Yeah.
But another reason is I just thought it was a cool hole. I really like throwing to 4's basket on that hole. And I just thought it would be fun to do it again. So, and I've gotten decent feedback on that.
Yeah, I like holes where it makes you think about, okay, should I go for this or do I lay up and then get in position?
Yeah, definitely decisions to be made on that hole. Even if you throw a great tee shot, it's, do I really want to throw it? If I throw it and I throw it too hard, it's going to be long. If I throw it too short, it could be in a bush. I'm going to be again. So definitely got to be careful, think before you throw, especially with conditions like we're going to have tomorrow.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So how are you feeling as a player going into this? Are you ready? Do you feel like you still got some rust?
I got a lot of rust. I am not a winter golf guy. I am not out there throwing in the snow. So I have a lot of rust to knock off. I've played a handful of times so far this year, but I have not felt good any of the times that I've played. I'm not a guy that likes playing in layers, and I'm always wearing jackets every time I go out, so I never feel comfortable. So I'm not feeling super confident, but like I mentioned to everybody before, I'm just out there to have a good time, especially when I'm running the event. I'm more hyper-focused on making sure everybody else is having fun, making sure that the event runs smooth than I am about my finish. So I'm not super stressed out about it. I get to make the cards in round one, and I'm playing with people that I know I'm going to have a good time with, so that's nice. And that's really all I'm looking to do. But as far as I have zero expectations for my play. That I can say. And I hate playing in the rain. Nobody hates playing in the rain more than me, I think. So
I think I'm there with you because I'm forehand dominant. So we understand forehands don't work too well in the rain.
No, nothing works well in the rain. I hate it, period. So I'm hoping for the best tomorrow, but not going to be stressed out if it doesn't end well for me.
Yeah. I seen a couple, a month or so ago, I seen you linking up with Bradford in Florida. How was that?
Oh, that was
a couple rounds.
That was a nice surprise. I think him and I had spoken, and he had mentioned something that he was going to be in Florida, so I knew I was going to be there around the same time as him. But it was a really nice surprise when I got a message from him, like my second day there, and he's like, "Hey, man, I forgot you were down here. Any shot you'd want to play around?" And my immediate answer was, "You tell me how, when, and where, and I will make sure that I am available to do it." So he actually drove all the way up from like the Orlando area into Tampa to meet me so that we could play Ken Climo's home course. So he had to drive like an hour.
Oh,
so
wow.
Shout out to Bo for making the drive up there. That was awesome. And I couldn't have asked for a better time. Him and I played the GOAT's home course. And we had a ton of fun. And it was the first time I got to play with him. I've never actually had an opportunity to play a full round with him. So that was dope. I had so much fun. So I hope he had fun too. I hope I didn't drag him down. But
yeah,
I feel like we had a really great time.
That's pretty cool. Did you get to run into the GOAT while you're down there?
No, we didn't run into any pros, unfortunately. We played on I think it was like a Wednesday afternoon. So the course was basically empty. But it was a great time. The course was a lot of fun, and we had a lot of fun playing it. So.
Yeah. Now, were you up there when the pros were doing the chess tournament? Was that the tournament that the pros were doing that week, or?
Was there that weekend, but I was Tampa's about an hour and a half away from, I think it's Brooksville, where Mount Olympus is. So I thought about it, maybe taking a drive over there Friday, but it was a family vacation.
Oh, okay.
So that wouldn't have sat well with the rest of the family. So I opted not to do that, so I didn't make anybody angry. But it was a thought that crossed my mind. It's only a 90-minute drive. I could probably get there and at least watch Friday. But I didn't end up doing it.
Oh, okay.
But I was there at the same time.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so let's do a fun question here. Let's just say you become a multi-billionaire for whatever reason, and you decide to buy Joseph Davis. And you decide, okay, now I'm going to redo some of the layout. Like, what would you do to make the course more challenging and more like, okay, I need to think about this and this shot?
Oh, man. Well, if I was a multimillionaire, Joseph Davis would probably be the last course I'd buy. But for the sake of this question, given that I'm running an event there tomorrow, it's a loaded question because I could stand here all night and tell you all the changes that I would make. I'd basically take out the entire course and start from scratch. But understanding that with the goal of leaving the course sort of as is, kind of, I would make some of the hybrid holes more permanent layout holes. I would plant as many trees as is humanly possible to plant in that park, and I would try to do it as strategically as possible, obviously, so it makes the holes make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then just outside of that, I mean, other than like putting in actual pond water as opposed to just dealing with standing water, and building up greens into hill greens or lifted greens, which I could do that on every hole or any hole. It doesn't matter to me. But the biggest things I would do to make Joseph Davis better, at least in the immediate future, would be trees. You got to plant. There's just nothing there. That's a lot of open field. And then, I know everybody loves the 27-hole layout. I love 27 holes. But if I'm trying to make the best possible course, I would pare it down to 18, and I would
make a lot of hybrid holes.
Create a bunch of hybrid holes and make them permanent to the layout. So that's probably what I would do if I became a billionaire and bought a state park for some reason.
Yeah. I would definitely take out, I forgot which hole it is. It's the really long one, really along the path. And you got to go over that little ravine, and then the basket's down by the tree.
Yeah, OG hole 15, I think you're talking.
Yeah, I would take out that bush that's right in front of that tee pad because it doesn't make any sense. It's so aggravating.
Everybody does hate that bush. That bush gets a lot of hate. So I don't. To me, I mean, you're forehand dominant, so it shouldn't be too much in your way.
It's not, but it's just aggravating because it's like the tee pad is literally facing right at it. It's just like
it is. You could shift the tee pad over 2 feet and you leave the bush, so there's at least an immediate obstacle. But I get what you're saying, and that bush, everybody hates that thing. So I get it.
Yeah, that whole. Like for forehand, it's an easy flex line just right out there. Hope for the best.
Exactly.
So
I throw forehand on the hole most of the time.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to deal with the bush.
Are you hyzer flip forehand or are you flex or both?
Whatever the shot calls for, I'll throw whatever.
You can throw both?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
So if I'm trying to go max distance, then I'm probably throwing something that's a touch flippier and a little bit of hyzer so that I can get a full flight out of it. But if there's plenty of shots that call for some kind of flex line where it makes more sense to do it that way. So it just depends on what the shot calls for. I feel like I'm a 50-50 player in terms of forehand, backhand. So if I step up to a lie, it's whatever I think I can execute. That's what I'm going to throw.
Yeah. That's what I became this offseason. I worked on my backhand, so I actually have a backhand option. I'm not forcing the flex through areas where it obviously shouldn't be going.
Right.
So, yeah. So, yeah, that's all I got. Let's see what we got for questions. Looks like Jared was the only one to ask the questions. So, got anything else that you want to say before for tomorrow?
No, I mean, I hope everybody has a good time. Obviously, if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Spring Fling registration's open, so I'm hosting another event. This one will be sanctioned, and we're trying something a little different where it's a low registration fee for
I
AMs.
like it.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for feedback. I just thought it would be easier. I don't want to have to worry about a store, and there's a lot of people that complain that, the club or Jeremy or whoever else, BNTG, whoever's running the event doesn't have the plastic that they throw anyway to pick from. And so to me, pay $10, get a sanctioned round in. You're going to get a player pack that's commensurate with your registration fee. In fact, it probably is worth more if I'm being totally honest. And you're playing for a trophy and a rating and bragging rights. So,
Yeah.
and then the pros still have a regular buy-in, maybe a little lower than normal, and it's cash payouts for the pros. So I figured it was something I would try, and hopefully we get good feedback.
All right, we got a couple questions coming in now. Bradford asked, what's your favorite event in Buffalo every season?
Oh, man. Well, it's hard to say that it's not the BFDO, because that's just it's the biggest event in Buffalo every season. I will say, and it stinks that I haven't gotten to play it. I didn't get to play it last year, and I probably won't play it again this year. But Tom Beck is actually one of my favorite events. I love both courses. JD's a lot of fun. Wilson, I love. That's honestly one of my favorite courses in Western New York. But Jeremy moved it to Labor Day weekend, and it's always on my anniversary. So that's a non-starter. So
yeah,
I will not be playing in Tom Beck.
Yeah, that's one of those. It's one of those things where it's like not an option to even ask. It's like
No. It's not even brought up. That's not a topic I'm willing to discuss with my wife. I'm just not playing in it. But prior to that, when I played in Tom Beck, that has been one of my favorite events for sure. And then any doubles event. Bradford runs an awesome doubles event. It's the Scrap on the Scarp. I had so much fun playing that. Shout out to Dom Janky P, who's just on the ones and twos all day at an event like that. Guy's killing it. The games were a lot of fun. Doubles events are always a good time. I've gotten to play a bunch with Spencer Hewitt, and it's always a riot when him and I get together because we just kind of talk smack to each other, even when we're partners. So that's great.
That's awesome.
So yeah, any doubles event, BFDO, and then Tom Beck are probably my favorite events.
Yeah, that sounds like me and Chris. Anytime we're on a team together, we talk smack the whole time.
You have to. Yeah, we got to motivate each other. That's how Spencer and I are motivated. Is my
and then Sunflower, who is my wife, she asked, "How long have you been playing disc golf for?"
So I used to play a little bit in high school, but not I like this kind of disc golf where you have no idea what you're doing. You're just kind of out there throwing what you believe to be a frisbee at a target that you just randomly happen to buy in a park. And then I didn't play for a really long time, and then COVID happened, and I guess it's a long story, but Jake Root has been a friend of mine for 20 years, and he basically kind of moved back here during COVID for long stints. He would be here for 2-3 months at a time, and him and I had nothing else to do. I used to play golf. I was a big golfer, and golf courses were closed. And the only thing that you could do if you wanted to get out of your house, he convinced me to go play disc golf. So him and I got really into it again, started playing sanctioned events in late 2020. And so that's probably when I started really kind of taking it seriously or getting really into the sport. I guess I'm a COVID disc golfer, you could say.
Nice. Bradford has another one. What advice might you have for someone looking to throw an event for the first time?
Seek guidance. So a lot of people, if you're looking at it from an outside perspective, it may seem like a lot of work. I think it's not quite as difficult as you think it is. And if you just talk to people that have run events before, get it. And Bradford's a great example. They hadn't run an event, and he reached out to me. He reached out to Sam. He asked us a lot of questions, and they ran that. I think their first event was that doubles event. He can correct me if I'm wrong. They killed it. They did a great job. And I think it's just because he was so willing to accept feedback, guidance, and help and assistance. Plus, he's got a great team. Recycling Buffalo, it's a large group of people. They all are really passionate about the sport of disc golf, and they all pitch in. So it's going to make his job or anybody else's job. When you have a team like that, it's going to make everybody's lives a lot easier. So my biggest advice would be, if you want to run an event, A, do it. there's nothing holding you back from doing it. I promise you. Nobody's going to tell you no. Just make sure you're doing it the right way. Reach out to the people that can help you. Go through the proper channels. Make sure you have permits, insurance, stuff like that. But for the most part, there's nothing stopping you from running an event. So don't be discouraged don't be discouraged. Step up, ask, and run one.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds like pretty good advice right there. Scott is asking who's winning your NCAA bracket. Is that talking about basketball?
I believe he's talking about basketball.
Okay, I don't follow basketball.
That's the only thing I can tell you. I used to be, so I played basketball for a long time. I used to follow it very closely. I've watched maybe 15 minutes of college basketball all year. I'm an NBA guy. So I watch the NBA. So it's not me. That's the only thing I can tell you is I'm not doing well.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm out of it. So I stopped paying attention. So I have no idea.
Yeah.
If you're asking me who I picked to win, I picked Michigan State to win. They're still in it. I doubt they're going to win, but that's who I picked to win in my bracket.
Bradford is saying, last thing, if anyone needs shirts, hit up Eric. He makes awesome custom shirts.
I guess
you do.
Yeah, I should plug myself. So yeah, I do graphic design. I do customized clothing. So if anybody's looking for anything customized or if they need a design for any reason, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to work with you. We can come up with a cool design. I can put it on anything you want. Towels, shirts, hats, doesn't matter. So definitely feel free to reach out to me anytime for that stuff.
Yeah. You're working with Backbone as well, making the team jerseys, right?
Yeah, I've done a lot of work with Mike over the last 2 years. So I am designing a lot of his event logos. I came up with some disc stamp designs for him that he's going to end up using, I believe. And I did a design job. That is one of mine. Yes, I designed that event logo. I liked that one a lot, so I'm happy.
I love that one.
Good.
I had to wait until it stopped snowing to bring that out because it's a white disc. I'd be devastated if I lost it.
Yeah, no, Mike does a good job. And I like that he does Dimax, so it doesn't limit me. Because typically if you're doing hot stamps, a lot of companies are really specific on their guidelines on what you can do, how big lines can be, so it's more of a pain. But the fact that he did Dimax, I was able to kind of go for broke on that. So that one was fun.
Yeah,
doing a lot of work with Mike. He's a great guy. Definitely, I know you mentioned at the start of the show, touch base with Backbone. They're awesome. They do have an online store. They're in Spencerport. So if you guys are ever in the Rochester area, hit up Mike Hanford at Backbone for anything disc golf related. And I know he's trying to expand. So he's rebranding sort of to Backbone USA. He does a lot of veteran-based products. And, give back to somebody who's doing a lot, not just for disc golf, but for veterans.
Yeah.
And Mike is a veteran too, so he's a great guy.
Yeah.
So definitely support Backbone.
We'll have Mike on hopefully next week. I had to reschedule because, of course, I got sick last week, which sucked. The kid got sick, and you know how that is. When your kid is sick, you end up getting it. So it's like, oh. Yeah.
I used to say that I used to think I was a very healthy person, but it turns out I just didn't have a tiny human coughing and sneezing in my face 24/7.
Yeah.
That's when you know whether or not you're really healthy. I'm not that healthy.
No.
I get sick all the time.
Every time my daughter gets something, I get it the next day.
It sweeps through our house here too, so I know your pain.
Yeah. So I think that's it. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. So thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll see you in the morning.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. Show's awesome. And looking forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. So,
all right.
See you guys.
See ya.
See ya.